Hey everyone, welcome to Daily News Analysis for December 29. In this section, we analyze the news that are relevant for your CLAT and other entrance examinations, the kind of news that you should be aware about regarding your competitive examinations, the kind of news that has the potential to come in the form of passages in your examinations. So let's see what are the important news on December 29. Air India is no longer amenable to writ jurisdiction. As you know that Air India uh, was the writ jurisdictions are for the state, the government run bodies. So now that Air India is no longer amenable to writ jurisdiction, High Court has declined to entertain a plea by Air India. So the Delhi High Court has declined to entertain a plea against Air India by the Indian Airlines Officers Association that were seeking pay and allowance arrears. So High Court is saying that the airline has ceased to be a government controlled company and is no longer amenable to its writ jurisdiction, because writ jurisdiction comes only for the writ petitions against the state bodies, against the government bodies, and Air India is no more a government controlled body. So the High Court has said that the petition was maintainable when it was filed in 2016 on account of Air India then being a public body. However, with the change of circumstances, it cannot grant the relief. The court said the association was free to take recourse to remedies available to them in law before an appropriate forum, and Air India shall be responsible for clearing the dues if the claim succeeds. The Lieutenant Governor of Delhi has cleared a proposal to enlist private firms for diagnostic and lab services. However, he has said that this is a clear attempt for outsourcing, and that means our own hospitals are not well equipped with the lab services, with the diagnostic services, which is not a great state of affair. So, uh, Vinay Kumar Saxena, he has expressed reservations, saying that it was an obvious attempt at private outsourcing, and he also advised that impact assessment study on quality of lab test is required. So Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saxena has cleared the proposal of the Delhi government to outsource diagnostic and lab services in government hospitals to three private players. But he expressed grave reservations, saying that it was an obvious attempt at private outsourcing of diagnostic services rather than strengthening them. So instead of making the already existing hospitals and lab services more powerful, that it caters to all the needs, we are outsourcing it from the private players. So that is where he had his reservations. Now the sources in Raj Nivas said the Lieutenant Governor, while concurring with the decision, has noted that doing so is prima facie admission that hospitals or facilities run by the state government have failed on the parameters of something as basic as pathological and diagnostic testing. He also added that while such a decision on the part of the governments in remote places that lack facilities in terms of physical infrastructure and trained medical professionals in the government sector would have made sense, it obviously does not meet the requirement of a rational decision in the country's capital. In Delhi, it does not make sense. Had it been some remote village where there is no infrastructure, where there are no professional medical practitioners, then we would have outsourced it. But in Delhi's capital, uh, why do we have to take recourse to this? So, Mr. Saxena added that strengthening the government's diagnostic system seems to have been ignored by the government for quite some time. Maharashtra has passed the Lokayukt bill, and the chief minister is under the ambit of Lokayukt. So the Maharashtra Assembly has passed the Lokayukt Bill 2022. It brings the Chief Minister and the Council of Ministers under the ambit of the Anti-Corruption and Ombudsman. The bill was passed without discussion as the opposition had staged a walkout over the alleged scam in the teachers' eligibility test. Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has termed the bill as a historic legislation, and he added that the Maharashtra is the first state to have such a law. Mr. Fadnavis, who is also the state home minister, said discussion had taken place with the opposition. As per the draft bill, prior approval of the assembly has to be obtained, and the motion has to be placed before the immediate session of the House before initiating any inquiry against the chief minister. Such a motion shall be passed by not less than two-thirds of the total members of the assembly. This has been mentioned in the bill. Mr. Fadnavis said after the centre passed a law on Lokpal, it was expected that all state governments formulate a legislation on the same lines, like Maharashtra has already done it, expecting that other states will follow the suit. We have this Jan Vishwas bill. So please understand what is this Jan Vishwas bill. This was tabled in the parliament with the objective of decriminalizing 183 offences across 42 legislations and enhancing the ease of living and doing business in India. So there are so many offences that uh, might not be so serious offenses and that are hampering with some of the activities in business and other areas of life. So to decriminalize those 183 offenses across 42 legislations, this Jan Viswas bill has been tabled. However, the bill either omits penal provisions or replaces them with fines in legislation such as the Air Act, Environmental Protection Act, Forest Act, Drugs and Cosmetics Act, Cinematograph Act, Patents Act, among others. An example of the provision of the bill reveals that stress has been on the replacement of imprisonment clause with fine. This can hardly be termed as decriminalization. So this bill was is a failed attempt at decriminalization. The decriminalization means do not make it an offense. But the stress of this bill has been that if there is an imprisonment for an offense, replace it with a fine. So replacing imprisonment with a fine cannot be termed as decriminalization per se. So this article in the Hindu talks about that how it is a failed attempt at decriminalization. Eye for an eye Sharia system returns to court in Afghanistan. As you know that Taliban has been very strict about women, about now the judicial system in the Afghanistan. So kneeling in front of a turbaned judge in a tiny room at the Ghazni Court of Appeal in eastern Afghanistan. A convict sentenced to death for murder pleads for his life. Under Sharia punishments officially ordered by the Taliban's supreme leader for the first time last month, he faces public execution. So there is a public execution in a modern democracy. It is very unheard of for a public execution to be held, but it is happening in Afghanistan. So the Islamic law or Sharia acts as a code of a living for Muslims worldwide, offering guidance on issues such as modesty, finance, and crime. However, interpretations vary according to local custom, culture, and religious school of thought. Taliban scholars in Afghanistan have employed one of the most extreme interpretations of the code, including capital and corporeal punishments, little used by modern Muslim states. Trade pacts with Australia, UAE to help boost exports, the Promotion Council has said. So the various export promotion councils have lauded the trade agreement signed by India with the United Arab Emirates (UAE) and Australia, saying that the pacts will help India boost exports by granting preferential access to those markets for Indian products. Engineering Exports Promotion Council said in India has benefited from preferential market access provided by the UAE on more than 97% of its tariff lines, which account for 99% of Indian exports to the region in value. After the 2020 COVID blip, road fatalities are on the rise. So some data is given on the Hindu regarding how many road accidents, road deaths, fatalities are happening. Because when there was a lockdown, there were less number of vehicles on the road, so there was a decline in the number of deaths by the accidents because people were not coming out. However, now the data is again on the rise. So the number of road accident deaths in 2021 was 1.9% more than in 2019. It shows a government report. Road accident severity or the number of people killed per 100 accidents rose from 33.7% to 37.3%. Fatalities due to road accidents resumed their upward trajectory after a rare decline in 2020 due to restrictions on movement during the COVID-19 lockdowns. Uh, Road accident deaths increased by 1.9% in 2021 from the 2019 figure, shows the Road Transport Ministry's annual report released on Wednesday. A total of 4,12,432 road accidents were reported in the country last year, claiming 1,53,972 lives and causing injuries to 3,84,448 people. This has been said by the Road Accidents in the India 2021 report. This translates into an average of 1,130 accidents and 422 deaths every day, or 47 accidents and 18 deaths every hour. So every hour there are 18 deaths and 47 accidents. So this is a huge figure. That is an issue of concern. It is more severe than the COVID even. Even COVID did not have this much of fatality rate. So that's a serious cause of concern. So these were some important news regarding December 29. Now let's quickly revise what were the important news. The first news was regarding Air India. It is no longer available to red jurisdiction because it is no more controlled by the government. Then the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi has cleared the proposal to enlist private firms for diagnostic and lab services. Maharashtra has passed Lokayukt bill and the Chief Minister is under mandate. Uh, then we have this Jan Vishwas bill, which was tabled to decriminalize, but the article says that it is a failed attempt to add decriminalization. In Afghanistan, the Sharia law, the Sharia system has returned, the eye for an eye. There are public executions happening. Trade pacts with Australia, UAE to help boost exports. It has been said by the various export promotion councils. And after 2020 COVID plague, the road fatalities are on the rise in India. So these were some important news that were relevant. Thank you so much. See you in the next session with the next day's important news.